In the repair shop today,
My heart's pounding a little bit.
Sonas faces her fears.
I have actually trapped my fingers in a mechanism like this before. And after that, I actually vowed never to do a reclining chair again.
While Steve casts an eye over a very unusual timepiece.
I've now got to clean the eyeballs. They are really, really filthy. But actually, this is cleaning it off beautifully.
But first, a mystery object.
So, do you know what this is?
I've got no idea. What is that contraption on the end there?
Master saddler Suzie Fletcher knows precisely what this is, and along with wood restorer Will Kirk, is only too happy to come to the aid of Honora Baldwin from Merseyside.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
What is this?
This is used to be my dad's saddling stool, which he acquired when he was in the army.
Saddling stool. Suzie, I think you knew what this was.
Yes.
Something to do with leather, though, right?
It is,
Okay.
yeah. My dad was sent to Benghazi in Libya. I think he was about 19 years old in 1942 for the peacekeeping campaign. And he was put to work with the horses. And I think that's where he learned his skills in saddling.
Most saddlers will have one of these in their workshop.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is that you can clamp the leather in it, and then it frees you up to be able to hand sew. I mean, this is lovely. It really is lovely.
How does this work?
Well, this piece belongs in here. The piece of leather should go through there
Oh, I see.
and joins to this bit which is broken off from. Whatever it is you're sewing goes in there. This then fits in to keep it in place.
Oh,
Which
and the
at the
further
moment-
that you move it down, the more tension that
Yeah.
it puts on there.
Yeah.
This must have meant quite a lot to your dad. The fact that he brought it back to the UK.
And he must have had the desire to carry on his skills as well.
Yeah.
I would spend time in the garage when he was doing anything to do with leather, just watching him with the leather between the, you
Yeah.
know, this needle in both ways, and then you pull it through. And
Yes, yeah.
He used to make all sorts for us growing up.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd get things made for school. My satchels were always made by my
How
dad.
lovely is that?
As a child, I was always fascinated by anything of my dad's. He was everything to me. So, yeah, he was just a very, very gentle, very kind man.
It sounds like you had a really close relationship.
I did. I've always felt safe with my dad. I just adored him.
Yeah.
It's lovely, because whenever you walk past it, you think of your dad.
Exactly. Yeah,
really
always.
nice.
So my dad passed away when I was 30 years old. And my mum asked myself and my siblings to sort the garage out. So everything
Yeah.
was going in the skip.
Oh, gosh.
And then I stopped this from going in.
Well done.
It just means so much to me because I always feel I've still got my dad with me. And in every house I've lived in the years since my dad passed away, I've always had it with me. And now it's completely broken.
So what would you like us to do?
I would like the red leather replaced and maybe these cleaned up so that they're not so filthy. Somebody put these pieces on for me for stability, but they don't look quite right because they're a different colour.
So aesthetically looking nice, but also functional.
Definitely so that I could maybe start using it and learn some skills.
It's never too late.
My dad would be so proud that I'd even bothered to keep it in the first place. It's going to stay in the family. That would mean so much to me.
Yeah. We are going to make it look really beautiful and very functional for you.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for bringing this in.
Thank you. Take good care.
Bye-bye.
We will.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Seeing my dad's stool in this condition is really sad. The thought of it, the condition getting worse and worse, I can't let that happen to it because it just holds too many memories. I feel like I've got him with me when I've got the stool, and at the moment the stool is in the garage, so he's not with me.
I love this stitching stool. I have a couple of my own, but I've never seen one made in this style. I need to replace the leather strap that works the clams so that it works properly and Honora can actually use this stool. This strap is what closes the clams together and holds the work into place. So what I'm going to do is try and push out the metal bar that is actually holding everything in place. The concern is that bar's been there for many, many years with a lot of force pulling it this way, and I'm going to push it that way. But I'll just go at it steady and see what happens. Oh, there we go. So it's a metal bar. Need to make sure we keep a hold of that. I just need to finish removing it from the stool, and then I can hand the stitching stool over to Will.
As Suzie plans a division of labour on the stitching stool, another dynamic duo is gearing up for action.
Interesting chair. Isn't it?
Very interesting. And I wonder whether it could be a recliner.
Well, whatever it is, it definitely has been well loved, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Maria Ainsworth from Manchester is hoping that upholsterer Sonaz Nuranvari and metalworker Dominic Chenier can rescue this family favourite.
Hi. Hi. So, we have a chair.
Tell us all about it.
It first came into my life when I was about 6. It was a gift to my dad, who was a doctor, from a patient.
Lovely. Tell us a little bit about your dad. What was his name?
So my dad's name was Nari Kutar. He grew up in India, trained as a doctor in Madras, and then he travelled to the UK because he wanted to train with the Royal College of Surgeons. And it was when he was working at Chase Farm Hospital in London that he met my mum.
Lovely.
So as my dad was doing his training, so moving to different posts, my dad was working in Wales at the time of the Aberfan disaster, when the slag heap from the mines collapsed onto school in Aberfan, killing lots of children.
Goodness.
So he was the doctor on the scene.
Oh, my.
And because he was working in the community, over the months afterwards, he was working with a lot of the people who'd been involved and who'd lost children or been injured.
Wow.
That must have been quite a sort of shocking experience for your poor parents.
Definitely.
Did your dad ever talk to you about it? I know you're only a kid, but...
My dad didn't talk about it specifically, but most years around the kind of the anniversary, there would be something on the news about it. And even after my dad had died, my mum would always talk about him having been there, so proud to have had him playing such an important part.
Yeah.
Less than a year after that, they moved to Blackburn.
It sounds like your father was a big part of the community.
Yeah, when my dad died, there was an obituary in the local paper talking about this doctor who died very young because he was only 43.
Wow.
I do remember the funeral. We drove past the hospital that he worked at, and all of the staff had come outside to watch as we drove past. All the nurses standing in their uniform.
Wow.
Which was really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He obviously made a big
I think
impact
that
there.
kind of showed how important he was to them and how, I guess, kind of how highly they regarded him as well.
Absolutely. Wow. It sounds like he was an amazing doctor.
He became a doctor because he wanted to help people and to treat people. And I guess kind of the fact that, you know, he was gifted the chair was kind of a sign that, you know, somebody had really appreciated what he'd done.
It's quite a statement to give to him. And what did it look like originally?
So when we first got it, it was in this kind of burgundy leather.
Wow.
Quite a traditional chair.
Yeah.
After my dad died and we moved house, and my mum had it recovered to match the new suite. So for most of its life, it was 70s gold velvet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Classic.
Which is how
Yeah.
it stayed for
Yeah.
a very, very long time, actually.
Yeah.
So it went from burgundy leather to gold and now
And
in
then,
the stripe.
yeah, to the stripes.
How would you like to see it restored?
Well, it should be a reclining chair, but it's
Right.
not currently a reclining chair. That's its kind of its biggest problem in terms of needing some repair. When it was leather, it was actually kind of quite cold.
Yeah.
So something's kind of warm and comfortable. It feels like it's a bit of a sort of sad place for the chair to be at the moment. It's the connection to my dad, and there are not that many kind of, I guess, kind of physical things that I feel like you've got that connection with, and this really is part of it. So slightly nervous, but really hoping
Don't be nervous.
you might be
Don't
able
be
to
nervous.
fix it.
Yeah, I'm nervous too, don't worry. We'll do our best.
We will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take
See you
care.
later.
Bye.
One of the things I love about the chair is that it has that really special feel. Feels like it kind of wraps around you. Maybe that's the connection back to my dad. I felt quite bad that it's not really being looked after in the way that I feel like it should be. So I guess there's a bit of kind of wanting to look after it properly and feeling like I'm doing my dad proud and doing my dad justice.
You know what, so nice. I'm dying to see what that mechanism looks like under there. What state is it? God, it's heavy.
Really heavy.
Oh, look, it's hanging off already. I'm going to finish the job.
Go for it.
Yeah?
What do you think?
You can tell already, look, there's bits are bent and screws have been replaced. Someone's tried to fix it in the past. You can't really see enough, though. It's all sort of deep inside the chair, so...
I can take the cover off and take the mechanism out, which will then give you an opportunity to have a proper look at it.
I think that's definitely for the best. You know what? I really look forward to seeing which fabric you choose.
Oh, yeah, me too,
I'm hoping
actually.
for the gold velvet.
I know you are. You'll have to wait and see.
I can't wait. I'll get the trolley.
All right, thank you. I've got to take this mechanism completely out so that I can strip all the fabric off of the frame. Oh, the mechanism is attached to the back, so I can literally just cut through here and strip the fabric off. I'm using a bullnose pliers here, and I'm sort of ripping the cover off, and those very, very traditional upholstery tools are called ripping chisels. So although it looks quite brutal, it is the proper technique. I've still got quite a lot to strip out, but once I've finished stripping all the fabric off, I can give the mechanism to Dom.
Having stripped back the saddler's stitching stool, Suzie is ready for Will to get cracking on the wooden structure.
Hey, Will.
Hey, Suzie.
So I have Honora's stitching stool for you now.
Wonderful.
All the leather's off that needs to come off. I've taken the clams off and wondered if you would be able to refresh all this wood and make it look beautiful.
Refresh the wood and make
Yeah.
it look beautiful. Now, I know that Honora wasn't too happy with the recent additions.
Right, yeah.
So it'd be
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
nice to give everything a clean, maybe colour match the newer additions in with everything else.
Oh, I think that would be amazing.
Leave it with me.
OK, cheers.
Okay. There are new pieces and old pieces here. They kind of tie in, but you can slightly see the difference. These newer additions around the outside, I might shape those in a bit more to tie in with everything else. I can really see the difference in colour between the new pieces of wood and the original. It's not going to take much to help blend them in, but a tiny bit of the right pigment and stain will really do the trick. So I'm going to use a mixture of the two here in different shades of brown and black to recreate that same brown colour that's on the rest of the existing wood.
I need to make a new strap for the stitching stool, and I've got this piece of leather cut to the right width, and it's the same thickness as the original strap. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create the loop in the leather where the bar goes through that stops the leather from being pulled away all the way through the clams. And I'm bending the leather, the good side to the good side. It just loosens those fibres a little bit so that when I bend that loop back around, there's less likelihood of any surface cracking. So just trim that up to size. So I'm going to use my edging tool just to take off this sharp edge here, and it will just give it a really nice smoothed edge. There we go, and that looks rather nice. What I can do now is stain this edge and get it rubbed up so it looks really nice and glossy. Considering that this is going on an older stool, I quite like this finish. It's a little bit mottled, and I think it's going to complement the stitching stool beautifully.
The next visitor is Stefan Kruczkowski from Derbyshire.
Hello, you must be Stefan.
I am.
Do come on in.
Thank you.
He's hopeful that horologist Suzie Fletcher will be able to turn back time on a dilapidated family treasure.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Good. Tell me, what have you brought in?
So I've brought a treasured family friend.
Yeah.
In Polish, his name is Żaba, which means...
Żaba?
Żaba.
Right.
Which means frog in English.
OK.
So here he is. It's the frog clock,
OK.
as we always used to call him.
and tell me about where you got him from.
So I inherited the clock from my grandparents. As kids, when we went to go and see my grandparents, the first thing we would do was wanting to bring Frog back to life. He'd run out of a bit of steam, so it was our job with our granddad to wind up the clock. And my granddad would lift us up and we would swing the pendulum and his eyes would swing back and forth. This gentle sort of tick, 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 you know, a very soothing tick.
So this frog represents that memory of your grandparents.
Yeah. My grandparents did not have a huge amount of possessions, which is why frog clock has got such a lot of meaning.
Tell me a bit about them.
So my grandparents were Stanisław and Stanisława Trojnowski. Born in Poland, they were farmers living a very quiet life. There'd been the outbreak of World War II in 1939. The Russians started deporting Polish citizens. And in 1940, they were deported from their home at gunpoint in the middle of the night. And they were then transported into the depths of Siberia and then left at a labour camp. They spent 2 years in the labour camp, then they were released. My grandfather ended up joining the Polish army.
Okay.
My grandmother, with their 2 children, eventually settled in a Polish camp in Koja in East Africa. And my grandparents were separated for 5.5 years and were eventually reunited here in England after the war.
They sound really strong people.
Yeah, my admiration for them grows as I get older and as I understand their story more and more.
Yeah. When did they get frog clock?
My mother seems to think they bought him in Derby around the maybe late 60s.
Yeah.
The clock represents when they found happiness again, and it was always there in their kitchen. And he ground to a halt maybe around the tail end of the 90s. You can see he's lost a bit of the coloration.
OK. Have you tried to repair him?
Well, I've not tried to repair him because he's quite a sealed unit. I mean, this is a simple object, really, but he represents such a lot to all of us.
Stefan, thank you so much for bringing him in. I hope I can get him ticking and his eyes moving again.
Thank you. Thanks for looking after him.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
The frog clock, he's a cheeky little chap. It would be really nice, not only for me and the family to see Żaba ticking back on the wall again, but I think I'll be honouring my grandparents in some way.
I'm just going to take the back off to see what the problem is with the clock. So I'm thinking it might just be full of grease from cooking because it was in the kitchen. It absolutely is full of grease, which can just gum up the whole clock. I can see here that the mainspring has actually broken. And the mainspring is the thing that is wound up, that gives the clock the power. I can see that there is a little bit of wear in some of the bearings that I will need to rectify. I see at the edge here, it's worn off as if someone's tried cleaning it. I might get Kirsten to see if she can just touch that bit up. So I just need to strip all this down, get the mechanism out and give it a jolly good clean. But I think the one thing that Stefan wants is to be able to swing that pendulum again. It'll take him right back to being lifted up by his grandfather.
Also rebuilding family memories, Sonaz and Dom. While she is preoccupied with the all-important fabric selection, Dom is tackling the armchair's inner workings.
Sonaz has very kindly stripped down the chair and taken off the brackets for me. And this is basically the reclining mechanism. This is the left-hand side bracket. As you lean back, that pushes that back, which pushes your footrest out. So there's a few little adjustments I need to make, but that's really not too bad. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the right-hand side. This one is in a lot worse shape. I've got an awful lot of twisted and bent pieces of brackets here. I need to figure out a way of getting all these pieces straightened out nicely and working exactly as they should be.
One of the key things that Maria spoke about was this feeling of warmth and comfort. And I've got some different textures here. And I'm thinking these more velvety fabrics are probably much more in line with what Maria would want. I feel as though choosing a burgundy colour is actually the right thing to do because it's taking the chair right back to how it was originally when Nari received the chair as a gift from one of his patients. So burgundy and velvet is going to be my choice. Velvet is one of the trickiest fabrics to sew. You've got the pile of the fabric, so the fibres that point in a certain direction. And when you try and sew them together, they tend to fight against each other, so you have to force them into place. I've got to make sure that I don't overstretch too much. It has to be as I've cut it.
Perfect. Really pleased now. Both brackets are working as they should be, which is really good. Snaps back, perfect. Hits the end stop, lovely. Unfortunately, they're looking a little bit tired, though. There's paint that started to flake off, which has left us with bare metal that started to go rusty. So I'm going to sand them down, give them a nice new coat of black paint, just to protect them for the future.
I'm really not going to know whether this really fits until I get some holding staples in. So they're temporary staples that are creating some tension in the cover. Right, here we go. I have to say, I'm super relieved. I'm really pleased with how that's looking, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Maria thinks of it all when it's done.
With the wood of the antique saddlery stool back to its lustrous best, thanks to Will, Suzie could call upon her specialist knowledge to get it fit for purpose.
So I'm going to put this leather strip back through the slots here. think Will has done the most amazing job of getting this looking really refreshed. And that's precisely what Honora was looking for. Just trim off those loose ends there. And there we go. I'm really hoping when Honora sees this that it's going to spark that real curiosity to follow in her dad's footsteps and start creating some wonderful items out of leather.
For Honora, the stitching stool is a link to the past, but also a path to keeping a heritage craft alive for the future.
Going home without it, I felt very odd, because it's never been out of my possession for the last 30-odd years. I'm hoping that it retains its originality and its charm. I don't want to lose that connection with my dad, but at the same time, I'm thinking I might actually use it if I can, take lessons.
Hello.
Hello.
It's lovely to see you again.
Lovely to be back. A little bit nervous.
Why are you feeling nervous?
I'm afraid of it not to have the same pull that it had before.
Well, because you have such a vivid memory of your father sitting on this and...
Yeah, it just gets me. I don't know what else to say.
Right.
Are you ready? Yeah. OK.
That's beautiful, thank you. So much. I don't know why I'd missed it so much. It was in a state, wasn't it?
Can you see your dad sat back on this stool using it?
I can not only see him sat on it, but it brings back the whole thing. You know, there's been so many times over the last 30 years I've really missed him. So I'd love to follow in his footsteps now and try and have a little go.
Well, you've got one of the best teachers starting off. You know how to use this, don't you?
I do know how to use
okay.
it.
You want a lesson? OK.
Right. So the leather goes in place, and then we just put the bar in place, and now it's holding it.
Oh, wow.
All goes in from the right side.
Yeah.
You then follow with the needle on the back there.
Yeah.
Pull that needle through. Then with your second needle, lay it on top, pull that thread back, and pull the threads up. You ready to have a go? All right. Let's get this. It is yours, my lady.
Thank you.
Well done. Yeah.
Oh, he would be impressed.
A saddler in the making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
How did
Lovely.
that feel?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. It's just that feeling of pulling it through and seeing him doing it. Great feeling.
All right. You want to get this home then?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
As soon as you get a door...
I'm going to get the door.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Lovely. As soon as I looked at the stool, it brought back that feeling, but also my dad sat on it and just everything that it encompasses. It was just lovely. It was just such a feeling. It was great. One of the reasons that I wanted it fixing, not just for myself, but hopefully the history of my dad before me and everything that went with it will carry on into the next generation and maybe a bit more.
The overhaul of the frog clock's mechanism may be in full swing, but restoring his froggy facade is a job for Kirsten's colour-matching prowess.
I've got an interesting little job for you.
What is that, Steve?
It's a frog clock. Zava is its name.
Zava. Very sweet. So what would you like me to do?
It needs a bit of a clean-up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite greasy.
It's been in the kitchen.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And you can see on the corner there's a bit of paint that's actually worn away.
Yeah, OK. I'm very happy to have a go at that.
OK, brilliant, thanks.
Yeah, all right.
thoroughly cleaned the clock now. And as well as the mainspring being broken, one of the bearings is very worn. So what I need to do is recenter the bearing. I'm going to use this, what's called a broach, a tapered 5-sided cutter. And you just twist it as you're pushing it in, and it just opens up the hole. There, that should just be enough. So I'm just going to take this plug of brass and pop it in the lathe now and turn it down to the right size. Great, that fits perfectly. That is a vital wheel in the train of wheels. If I didn't have that in the right place, then it might all bind up. Now it's going to work for years and years properly.
There he is, clean and ready for retouching. Looking at Zaba, he's quite a few different greens. So it's about choosing the right green to match to. I think I'm going to use an acrylic paint on this. It's just plastic, so this is quite safe. I'm just going to blend these colours together and see if I can match the frog green. I think that looks quite close. I'm just going to let that dry, and then it's ready to go back to Steve.
I've now got to clean the eyeballs of the frog. They are really, really filthy. So I'm just going to clean them with a little bit of meths. I've got to be so delicate about this because all the wires that attach them are very delicate as well. But actually, this is cleaning it off beautifully. I've managed to get a new mainspring, which is just the right size. So I just need to wind it in now. I'm hoping that this mainspring is the correct strength. So if it's too strong, the clock will just go too fast, and the eyes will go too fast as well. There we go. So you see the power is actually getting through to the escapement, which is the part of the mechanism where the power escapes to the pendulum, which means that the cleaning of all the dirt out of all the bearings has worked, made it really efficient as well. I can't wait to get it back into the case and get the eyes moving.
About to start a rebuild of her own, Sonaz. She's ready to reunite the newly upholstered armchair with its fully functioning reclining mechanism.
Dom has done an amazing job at getting them back to being square again. Bit of a scary moment because I have actually trapped my fingers in a mechanism like this before. And after that, I actually vowed never to do a reclining chair again. So my heart's pounding a little bit. Well, the moment of truth. Ah, it does work. I'm so pleased. There were so many moments up to this point that I was worried as to whether it was going to work, but seeing it come together, such a huge relief.
This chair was given to a doctor in recognition of his dedication to caring for his community.
How you getting on?
Ready?
Done?
Yeah, finished.
You've already covered it up, though.
I know.
want to see it.
No, no, don't.
Can I?
Not yet.
For Maria, the chair holds powerful memories of her beloved father and her family home.
It kind of came into our life not long before my dad died. That's made it feel like it's got a bit more of a bond and connection than just kind of some piece of furniture that we would have had.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good.
Nice to see you, Sonna.
Nice to see you again.
How are you feeling?
Very excited.
Are
Slightly
you?
nervous now as well, actually.
Are you?
Do you want to see?
I really do want to see, yes.
Go on, Sonaz, come on.
Oh, I feel a bit nervous as well.
Oh, wow. It looks like brand new. That's actually quite close back to its original colour.
Bingo.
So back into its burgundy.
Yes. When I was sort of just kind of thinking about your dad, it just kind of felt like the only right option for it.
That was perfect choice. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And does it recline?
Well, there's only one way to find out, no? Do you want to have a seat?
I'd love to.
Come on
Can't
then.
wait.
Go on, give it a lean back.
This is the moment of truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's actually reclining. It's
It
not done
is,
that
yeah.
for such a long time.
It really suits you. It's a perfect size for you,
me
isn't
and this
it?
chair have spent a lot of time together.
Yeah,
over
have
the
you?
years. It is. It's kind of like a bit like kind of coming home feeling. It's really nice sitting back inside it.
No.
It's amazing. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure.
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to get you out the chair.
I was going to say, I'm not sure I could have
You look
done
right
it.
at home
That's me
now.
parked for the evening now. You can all go. I'll stay here.
But it won't be long before it's back in your living room. We will
Yeah.
get it
Amazing.
packed up and shipped back to your house for you.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
I'll get the door for you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
I think my dad would be really pleased to see it so close to how it was. It feels really special, and I'm just very grateful that they put so much thought into it and got it back to where it was. It's amazing. I think me, my husband, 2 children, cats, everybody's going to want to sit in it.
A spell in Kirsten's company has left the frog clock clean, green and ready to go.
I've got Zaba back from Kirsten, and I can't even see which side or where it was damaged at all. She has just made the most amazing job. So the eyes were really, really gummed up. And they should work quite well now. So once I hang the pendulum on, and it should just tick away now. That's great. I just need to get the dial and hands on, and then it's ready to give back to Stefan. I can't wait for him to see this. It's going to take him back to his childhood.
This clock adorned a Polish family's kitchen wall after they set up home in the UK, having fled persecution at home during the Second World War. For their grandson Stefan and his sister Helenka, it holds powerful memories of happy times spent with their doting grandparents.
The frog clock was part of my upbringing, but equally it's something that I know means an awful lot to Helenka.
We haven't seen it working for 20+ years. Just be nice just to see it back in its former glory and displayed on a wall.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. So what are you hoping?
I'm hoping you brought Zaba back to life. For the eyes to go back and forth, for the pendulum to swing, and for him to be back as he was when my grandparents were here. It's been waiting for this moment to bring it back to life.
Wait no more.
OK.
Steve?
Oh.
Excellent. I thought that was brown. So that was actually a brass finish.
I polished the brass. Would you like to swing the pendulum?
Yeah, he's all wound up, ready to go.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the noise.
That's definitely how we remember
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, that's him. 25 years I've not heard that ticking and that noise and those eyes going back and forth. It takes me back to my grandfather lifting me up, and I'd have got the magic job of swinging the pendulum.
That's nice.
My grandparents never had much in their lives, so he means a lot because he's a simple pleasure. And I think sometimes we forget, and I think we get upset with things that actually really don't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm absolutely thrilled. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
So, yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very
Excellent.
much.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. When that cloth came off, he was a different frog. And even before I swung the pendulum, he was
Back to his
ready-
former
yeah,
glory.
back to his former glory. I'm absolutely made up. I'm delighted.